The Minister of International Relations and Cooperation, Dr. Naledi Pandor, will address DIRCO's end-of-year media briefing today. It's expected that she'll reflect on some of the year's foreign policy highlights, including matters relating to the Southern African Development Community, the broader African Union relations with countries beyond Africa, as well as South Africa's role in institutions of global governance. She's actually speaking right now. Let's take you there live.
Has been of particular concern to all of us in the SADC region. You would be aware that we've had extensive discussions on this matter as SADC. Following extensive and very focused discussions, it was decided that SADC would deploy the regional coordination mechanism to oversee the operations of the SADC or SAMIM. The last extraordinary summit of the SADC Troika, which met in Pretoria in October, approved the extension of the SADC mission in Mozambique in order, it stated, to continue with offensive operations against terrorists and violent extremists, to consolidate stability of security and create a conducive environment for resettlement of the population, and to facilitate humanitarian assistance operations and sustainable development. We were very pleased to receive a report at the summit of the reconstruction plan that has been crafted by the government of Mozambique in order to support socioeconomic recovery in the districts that have been affected by the extremist violence. We had always stressed within SADC that the issues of that region were both security challenges as well as socioeconomic and development challenges. There's someone who is speaking. There were both economic and security and socioeconomic challenges requiring development initiatives to be put in place. And so we're pleased that the government has acted on this matter. The SADC region remains unwavering in its commitment to continue supporting the Republic of Mozambique in achieving peace and security in parts of the districts of the Cabo Delgado province. The leaders of our region have stated their commitment of the intention to contribute toward efforts to ensure lasting peace and security, as well as to support efforts at reconciliation and development in the region and in the country of Mozambique broadly. In August this year, we as South Africa assumed the role of chair of the SADC organ for politics, defense, and security. Our responsibility is to continue to support efforts aimed at achieving and maintaining security and the rule of law in the SADC region. The SADC Treaty and its protocol on politics, defense, and security affairs, as well as the strategic indicative plan for the organ, are the key documents which guide the activities of the organ that we now chair. On fostering closer bilateral political and economic ties with fellow African states, I just wish to reiterate that South Africa is a strong proponent of African unity and solidarity. We believe that continental unity, peace, and prosperity are best started at bilateral levels when individual states reach out to other states and seek to forge closer bilateral ties. Stronger bilateral ties provide the foundation for greater Pan-African unity. This year, we worked harder at forging closer bilateral ties with several of Africa's leading economies. These include Kenya, Namibia, Nigeria, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Senegal. President Ramaphosa recently hosted his Kenya counterpart, President Uhuru Kenyatta on a successful state visit to South Africa. The two countries, South Africa and Kenya, share friendship, mutual respect, common constitutional values, and solidarity, not only on issues of bilateral concern, but also in their vision for the continent. Both countries are proponents of African unity and integration. They have a common vision for the development and renaissance of Africa as set out in the African Union Agenda 2063, which spells out the Africa we want. After the Kenya state visit, President Ramaphosa led a delegation comprising of government and business leaders on a state visit to the Federal Republic of Nigeria at the invitation of President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria. The state visit to Nigeria coincided with the 10th session of the Nigeria-South Africa Binational Commission. And this commission was used to reflect on progress made in advancing trade and investment between the two countries. The president also undertook a state visit to the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire at the invitation of President Alassane Dramane Ouattara. This state visit was historic. It was the first since diplomatic relations between South Africa and the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire were established in May 1992, the first state visit. A third state visit was to the Republic of Ghana at the invitation of President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo. Bilateral relations between South Africa and Ghana have grown significantly over the years. We are focused on the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, with Ghana, of course, hosting the Secretariat, and we also are determined to advance the objectives of economic integration of our continent, working closely together. Business relations between Ghana and South Africa are thriving hugely. There are over 200 South African companies registered in Ghana, employing near 20,000 Ghanaians and over 500 expatriates. We believe from our visit and what we experienced in Ghana that there is still room for even more business activity. And the two countries are exploring more opportunities for further economic collaboration. I'm sure that collaboration will involve chocolates, of which we returned with quite a large amount from Ghana. President Ramaphosa undertook a further official visit to the Republic of Senegal, having been invited by President Macky Sall. The president took part in the Dakar Peace and Security Forum and observed the significant infrastructure development underway in Senegal, supported by funding from South African financial institutions, but also observed the emerging of a new smart city being built by Senegal. Our two countries enjoy cordial bilateral, political, economic, and social relations, which are underpinned by strong historical ties dating back to the years of the liberation struggle. And there was much discussion about the 1987 meeting of South Africans discussing the possibility of a future free South Africa in Senegal at that time. A historic visit to Gorée Island was a moving highlight of the state visit undertaken by South Africa. On the year and managing the COVID-19 pandemic, I wish to report that as part of our continuous response and efforts in fighting against the COVID-19 disease, our country, through the African Renaissance Fund, has provided funding into the African Vaccine Acquisition Trust in order to provide vaccines to 26 of the poor African countries that lack vaccine access at this time. AVET was established by the African Union during the term in which President Ramaphosa served as chair of the Union. Its establishment followed the creation of the COVID-19 African Vaccine, the African Vaccine Acquisition Trust was established by the Union while our president served as chair. And its creation followed our establishing of the COVID-19 African Vaccine Acquisition Task Team. The main purpose of the task team is to ensure that the African continent secures vaccines and has blended financing resources for achieving Africa's COVID-19 vaccination strategy, which targets vaccinating a minimum of 60% of Africa's population. I am pleased that our donation will provide some assistance, modest assistance, toward achieving that target. I'm also very pleased at the recent announcement that Johnson & Johnson has granted South African pharmaceutical company Aspen an intellectual property license to produce its vaccines under the new brand name Aspen-Novax. This is not only a step in the right direction, but also a good sign that our diplomacy and advocacy work is bearing fruit. This relates to what we've been asking for in terms of expanding vaccine production on the African continent. On the matter of international solidarity, during 2021, we have highlighted concern that the situation relating to Western Sahara and Palestine remains one of deadlock and no progress. In some instances, the situation has even become worse. The question of Palestine remains unresolved after 70 years and continues to be a challenge to human conscience and to the promotion and achievement of international justice. In keeping with South Africa's long-term and principled support for the Palestinian people, our government and people remain committed to support initiatives aimed at refocusing the international agenda on Palestine and on securing action on an active Middle East peace process. We believe the Palestinian question remains at the heart of the Middle East situation of insecurity and instability. Our government believes that the only way to bring about lasting peace in the Middle East is to have a comprehensive and unconditional negotiated settlement to end the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories and Israel's continued blockade of Gaza. The ongoing delay in achieving such a settlement leads to an unending cycle of violence. In the context of Israel's continuing violations of its international law obligations, we have worryingly seen the African Union Commission, unfortunately this year, granting Israel the status of an observer in the African Union. This decision, which was taken without consulting member states, was a shock to us, given that it was made at a time when the oppressed people of Palestine remain hounded by destructive bombardments and continued illegal settlement of their land. We believe the unjust actions committed by Israel offend the letter and spirit of the Charter of the African Union. The African Union embodies the aspirations of all Africans and reflects their confidence that it can lead the continent through the practical expression of the goals of the Charter, particularly on issues relating to self-determination and decolonization. Thus, the decision by the AU Commission in such a commitment and context remains inexplicable. We look forward to the 35th Ordinary Summit of the African Union, where we hope the heads of state will decisively discuss this matter and bring it to a positive conclusion. On our participation in the multilateral system, we remain as South Africa a proud, still young member of the World Community of Nations. During this year, we continue to play active roles in institutions of global governance, including in the UN system, in G20, as well as BRICS. We are currently serving in the UN Peacebuilding Commission for the period 2021 to 2022. We participated in the UN 76th session of the General Assembly in September this year under the very exciting theme of building resilience through hope to recover from COVID-19, rebuild sustainably, respond to the needs of the planet, respect the rights of people, and revitalize the United Nations. When addressing the General Assembly, President Ramaphosa called for fair and equitable distribution of vaccines, saying in this interconnected world, no country is safe until every country is safe. And this is a message we need to repeat every day. In the G20 held in Rome, Italy, South Africa joined other countries in discussions aimed at forging a common global recovery effort from the COVID-19 crisis and the enabling of sustainable and inclusive growth. Together with other G20 members, we committed ourselves to overcoming the global health and economic crisis, which has come from the epidemic, which has affected billions of lives, dramatically hampering progress toward achievement of the SDGs and disrupting global supply chains as well as international mobility, as we well know as Southern Africans. The year 2021 saw us within BRICS commemorate 15 years of BRICS existence. Together with our BRICS partners, we take pride in the achievements of this very new organization. These achievements include the creation and operationalization of the new development bank, the NDB, the contingent reserve arrangement, the energy research cooperation platform, the partnership for a new industrial revolution, and the science, technology, and innovation framework, to name but a few. We're very pleased last night to welcome a contingent of scientists from Russia who will be working as part of a BRICS research team on the COVID-19 focused on this new variant, Omicron. And we hope the health minister will provide details with respect to this shortly. Cooperating among BRICS member states continues to grow. As you know, we announced last week that South Africa had invited scientists from Brazil, Russia, India, and China to work with our own excellent scientists, including the sharing of data and information on COVID-19, with a particular look at the new variant that was first reported on by South African scientists. We are currently the host of the BRICS Vaccine Research Center, and the research on the Omicron variant will form part of our center's initiatives. Lastly, we have been and continue to engage all countries that have imposed what we term unscientific and discriminatory travel bans on our country and region. We hope that our diplomacy will bear greater fruit. Some countries have indicated their intention to lift restrictions, which are inflicting much harm on our economy, on our society, and on families. What is sad for us is that we now know that the Omicron variant had long been present in many of the countries that have banned us. And yet they said nothing and have ignored signs and warnings from the World Health Organization and the United Nations in terms of clinical responses to the pandemic and the avoidance of travel bans. And they have thus imposed a terrible ban, an apartheid travel ban on South Africa and Southern African countries. In this year, we also launched the Charlotte Maxeke African Women's Economic Justice and Rights Initiative. We will use this as DIRCO's contribution to the empowerment of women and girls in the global agenda of generation equality, of economic justice, peace, security, reconstruction, and development. Ladies and gentlemen, this brief summary of our work doesn't encapsulate all the work we've done this year. Our diplomats work tirelessly on a daily basis to introduce our country as a trade, investment, and tourism destination to all the citizens in countries in which they are located. I've been very pleased at observing the work being done by many of the heads of mission and their officials in the countries I had the opportunity to visit this year as travel began to get underway. I believe the missions of South Africa are playing an important role in contributing to us fighting against poverty, inequality, and unemployment in our country and on the continent, because they serve as an important mechanism for presenting the African opportunity to the world. I thank you very much for your interest and attention today. Thank you very much, DDG Munyela. That is the end of my statement.
Thank you very much, Minister.
That's the Minister of International Relations.